First contact and confusion. The day Earth made first contact with an advanced alien civilization was supposed to be humanity's greatest triumph. Instead, it became a comedy of errors that nearly doomed the entire planet. Admiral Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge of the UES Horizon, Earth's most advanced battlecruiser, as it approached the massive alien vessel. The ship's sleek, angular design dwarfed the horizon, its hull shimmering with an iridescent material unknown to human science. "Open a channel," Rodriguez ordered, her voice steady despite the butterflies in her stomach. This was the moment humanity had dreamed of for centuries. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a creature that looked like a cross between a praying mantis and a jellyfish. Its translucent body pulsed with bioluminescent patterns, and multiple tentacle-like appendages waved gently in what Rodriguez assumed was a gesture of greeting. "Greetings, beings of Earth," the alien's voice resonated through the ship's speakers, a melodious tone that seemed to bypass their ears and speak directly to their minds. "I am High Emissary Zixlorp of the Galactic Confederation. We come in peace and wish to welcome you to the interstellar community." Rodriguez took a deep breath. "On behalf of Earth and all of humanity, we welcome you, High Emissary. I am Admiral Elena Rodriguez of the United Earth Fleet. We are honored by your presence and look forward to peaceful exchange and cooperation." The alien's body rippled, its colors shifting to a deep blue. "We are puzzled, Admiral. Our scans indicate your vessel is powered by chemical propulsion and protected by metal alloys. Surely, this cannot be your most advanced technology." Rodriguez felt her cheeks flush. "I assure you, High Emissary, the UES Horizon represents the pinnacle of human engineering." Zixlorp's tentacles waved in what seemed like agitation. "But where are your quantum drives? Your gravitic shielding? Your nanite swarms?" "We don't have those technologies," Rodriguez admitted, feeling increasingly out of her depth. The alien's body pulsed rapidly, and a sound like tinkling bells filled the bridge. It took Rodriguez a moment to realize Zixlorp was laughing. "Oh my," the alien chortled. "You're serious, aren't you? Well, this is unprecedented. We've never encountered a spacefaring race at such a primitive stage of development." Rodriguez bristled at the word primitive, but before she could respond, Zixlorp continued. "No matter. We shall guide you into the galactic age. First, we must upgrade your defenses. Those metal sheets you call armor are practically useless against modern weapons. We'll outfit your ships with proper energy shielding immediately." "With all due respect, High Emissary," Rodriguez said, her voice tight, "our armor has served us well. We'd prefer to maintain our own defensive systems for now." Zixlorp's color shifted to a deep purple. "You can't be serious. Your armor wouldn't stop a child's toy laser, let alone the proper warship's weapons. For your own safety, we insist on upgrading your vessels." Rodriguez felt her temper rising. "And I insist that we will handle our own defenses. Thank you very much." The alien's tentacles whipped about in clear agitation. "This is absurd. You might as well be wearing cardboard for all the good your armor will do you. I've never encountered such willful ignorance." As the argument escalated, neither Rodriguez nor Zixlorp noticed the small, sleek ship that decloaked behind the horizon. Its hull was pitch black, absorbing all light that touched it, making it nearly invisible against the backdrop of space. Inside the mysterious vessel, a figure watched the exchange with growing interest. Captain Mara Chen of Earth's top-secret Black Ops division smiled to herself. The aliens' dismissal of human technology was exactly what they had hoped for. "This is going better than we could have imagined," she murmured to her crew. "Keep monitoring the situation. If everything goes according to plan, our primitive technology will be humanity's greatest asset in the battles to come." Back on the horizon, Rodriguez was struggling to maintain her composure. "High Emissary, I appreciate your concern, but we have no intention of abandoning our own technology. Perhaps we could discuss cultural exchange instead." Zixlorp's color had faded to a dull gray. Very well, Admiral. But I warn you, your stubbornness may have grave consequences. The galaxy is not always a friendly place, and there are threats out there that your quaint defenses cannot hope to withstand. As the conversation shifted to less contentious topics, Rodriguez couldn't shake the feeling that humanity had just failed its first major test on the galactic stage. Little did she know that this apparent failure was exactly what Earth's shadow government had been counting on. In the weeks that followed, Earth was abuzz with excitement over the alien contact. The Galactic Confederation set up an embassy in Geneva, and cultural exchanges began in earnest. But beneath the surface, tension simmered. The aliens made little effort to hide their disdain for human technology, treating Earth's leaders like backward children who needed to be guided into the proper way of doing things. They offered to upgrade everything from Earth's power grids to its medical technology, always with the implication that humanity was hopelessly behind the times. What the aliens didn't realize was that their condescension was playing right into humanity's hands. While the public face of Earth's governments accepted some of the aliens' gifts with humble gratitude, the planet's best scientists and engineers were working around the clock, reverse engineering every piece of alien tech they could get their hands on. In hidden laboratories across the globe, humans were making breakthroughs that would have taken decades under normal circumstances. The key was not in blindly adopting alien technology, but in understanding the principles behind it and adapting them to human designs and strategies. Captain Chen's Black Ops team was at the forefront of this clandestine effort. In a top-secret facility deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, she stood before a group of Earth's most brilliant minds. "Ladies and gentlemen," she addressed the assembled scientists and military personnel, "our plan is working perfectly. The aliens think we're helpless children, clinging to our outdated technology out of stubbornness or ignorance. This gives us the element of surprise." She gestured to a holographic display showing schematics of various alien technologies. "Thanks to their generous gifts and our own covert intelligence gathering, we now have a comprehensive understanding of their capabilities. More importantly, we've identified their weaknesses." A murmur of excitement rippled through the crowd. Chen continued, her eyes gleaming with determination. "Our task now is to develop countermeasures and new technologies that they won't see coming. They expect us to either adopt their tech wholesale or stick to our primitive methods. We'll do neither. Instead, we'll create hybrid systems that combine the best of both worlds." As the meeting progressed, plans were laid out for new weapons, defenses, and propulsion systems that would give humanity a fighting chance against any cosmic threat. The aliens' dismissal of human ingenuity would prove to be their greatest mistake. Little did Earth know that their preparations would soon be put to the test. For even as humanity scrambled to catch up technologically, a shadow was falling across the galaxy. A threat that would challenge even the mighty Galactic Confederation and give humanity a chance to prove its worth among the stars. The galactic threat emerges. 6 months after first contact, the galaxy changed forever. The Swarm, a hive-mind species of insectoid aliens, launched a massive assault on the outer rim of Galactic Confederation space. Their bioorganic ships, capable of regenerating damage in seconds, tore through the Confederation's defense fleets like tissue paper. In the UN Security Council chamber, now expanded to include representatives from every nation on Earth, tension was palpable. Admiral Rodriguez, now Earth's military liaison to the Galactic Confederation, stood before the assembly, her face grim. "The situation is dire," she began, her voice echoing in the hushed room. "The Swarm has already conquered 3 star systems. Their technology is unlike anything the Confederation has ever encountered. Traditional energy weapons are ineffective against their bioships, and their ability to adapt to new threats is unprecedented." The holographic display behind her showed footage of the battles. Sleek Confederation ships fired brilliant beams of energy at the grotesque, insect-like swarm vessels. But where the beams struck, the ships' hulls simply bubbled and reformed, healing almost instantly. The Confederation's greatest advantages, their energy shields and quantum weaponry, have been nullified, Rodriguez continued. The swarm's organic technology seems to exist partially out of phase with normal spacetime, making it resistant to energy-based attacks. The UN Secretary-General leaned forward, his brow furrowed. What does this mean for Earth, Admiral? Are we in danger? Rodriguez took a deep breath. Yes, sir, we are. The Confederation's analysts believe that if the swarm isn't stopped, they could reach Earth within 6 months. The chamber erupted in panicked murmurs. Rodriguez raised her hand for silence. However, there may be a silver lining to our technological backwardness. She allowed herself a small, ironic smile. The swarm doesn't seem to have encountered purely physical weapons in millennia. They have no defense against them. A ripple of surprise went through the room. The Chinese representative spoke up, her voice cautiously optimistic. Are you suggesting our primitive weapons might be effective against this threat? That's exactly what I'm suggesting, Rodriguez replied. Kinetic weapons, railguns, coil guns, even traditional firearms tear through their bioships. The swarm simply isn't adapted to deal with physical projectiles. The Russian president leaned back in his chair, a thoughtful expression on his face. So our outdated technology may be our salvation. How ironic. Rodriguez nodded. The Confederation is reluctantly asking for our help. They want us to mass-produce kinetic weapons for their fleets. The Secretary-General's eyes narrowed. And what do we get in return? Full membership in the Galactic Confederation, Rodriguez said, allowing herself a small smile. Along with access to all their technological databases, they're finally taking us seriously. As the Security Council debated Earth's response, Captain Chen was already putting plans into motion. In the depths of her secret facility, she stood before a massive hangar, watching as engineers swarmed over a new class of warship. The vessel was a hybrid of human and alien technology, but not in the way the Confederation might have expected. Its hull was made of advanced composites, engineered to be stronger and lighter than any traditional metal. But instead of energy weapons, it bristled with railguns and missile launchers. Where an alien ship would have had shield generators, this one had layers of reactive armor and point defense systems. Ken turned to her chief engineer, Dr. Yuki Tanaka. How are we progressing, Doctor? Tanaka's eyes shone with excitement. Better than we could have hoped, Captain. The reverse-engineered alien propulsion systems are integrating perfectly with our weapon systems. We're achieving power outputs that would have been impossible with purely human tech. Chen nodded, satisfaction evident in her expression. And the special project? Tanaka's grin widened. That's the best part. We've cracked it. The prototype is ready for testing. Together, they walked to a sealed chamber at the far end of the hangar. Inside, suspended in a containment field, was what looked like a suit of medieval plate armor. But this was no historical relic. The surface of the armor seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal, tiny nanomachines swarming across its surface. Behold, Tanaka said with a flourish, the future of human combat technology. We're calling it the Adaptive Response Armor, or ARA for short. Chen reached out, running her hand along the surface of the armor. It felt warm to the touch, almost alive. Explain it to me, Doctor. How does it work? Tanaka launched into her explanation with barely contained excitement. It's a symbiosis of organic and inorganic components. The base structure is a titanium ceramic composite, but it's infused with programmable nanites and a nutrient gel that supports a layer of genetically engineered cells. Chen raised an eyebrow. Living armor? In a sense, yes, Tanaka nodded. The biological components give it the ability to heal and adapt, much like the swarm's ships. But the mechanical elements provide a level of protection and versatility that purely organic systems can't match. She pressed a button, and a holographic display sprang to life, showing the armor in action. It can harden against kinetic impacts, become thermally resistant against energy weapons, and even generate localized electromagnetic fields to deflect plasma attacks. And because it's partially biological, it can learn and adapt to new threats in real time. Chen whistled low. It's incredible. But will it work against the swarm? Tanaka's expression grew serious. In theory, yes. It should be able to adapt to whatever the swarm throws at it. But we won't know for sure until we test it in actual combat. Chen nodded, her mind already racing with the tactical possibilities. How soon can we have a squad equipped with this armor? We can have a prototype squad ready in 2 weeks, Tanaka replied. But to outfit a significant force, we're looking at least 2 months of production, assuming we get the resources we need. Chen's jaw set in determination. You'll have whatever you need, Doctor. Earth's survival may well depend on this technology. She turned back to the armor, her reflection distorted in its shifting surface. The Confederation thinks we're backwards. The swarm thinks we're easy prey. It's time to show them both what humanity is truly capable of. As Chen and Tanaka finalized their plans, events in the wider galaxy were spiraling out of control. The swarm's advance continued unabated, their high ships consuming entire planets to fuel their endless expansion. The Galactic Confederation, for all its advanced technology, found itself outmatched and overwhelmed. In a desperate bid to turn the tide, the Confederation agreed to equip their ships with human-designed kinetic weapons. But the integration was slow and clumsy, their crews unused to the recoil and ammunition requirements of physical projectiles. It slowed the swarm's advance, but couldn't stop it entirely. As the weeks passed, the threat loomed ever closer to Earth. The planet was a hive of activity, its industries retooled for war production on a scale not seen since the Second World War. Every nation put aside its differences, united in the face of extinction. In orbit, a new fleet took shape. Human-designed ships, built with a blend of Earth ingenuity and reverse-engineered alien tech, stood ready to defend their home. But even as humanity prepared for the greatest battle in its history, Captain Chen knew that their true secret weapon was still hidden away, waiting for the perfect moment to be unveiled. The stage was set. Humanity stood on the brink, ready to fight for its very existence. And in the depths of space, the swarm approached, hungry for new worlds to devour. The battle for Earth, and perhaps the fate of the galaxy, was about to begin. Operation Trojan Horse. As the swarm's advance drew ever closer to Earth, the combined forces of humanity and the Galactic Confederation prepared for what could be their final stand. But in the shadows, Captain Mara Chen and her team were putting the finishing touches on a plan so audacious it bordered on insanity. The plan was codenamed Operation Trojan Horse, and it hinged on the very technology the aliens had once mocked as primitive and useless. In a hidden briefing room deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Chen stood before a select group of Earth's military leaders and a handful of trusted Confederation allies. Admiral Rodriguez was there, along with the Confederation's Supreme Commander, an ethereal being named Silos, whose body seemed to be composed of living light. Ladies, gentlemen, and honored allies, Chen began, her voice steady despite the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. What I'm about to propose will sound impossible, perhaps even suicidal. But I assure you, it's our best chance of not just surviving this war, but winning it decisively. She activated a holographic display, showing a massive swarm hive ship. Our target is the swarm's central hive mind. We believe it's located here, at the heart of their largest vessel. If we can neutralize it, the entire swarm will be thrown into disarray. Xylos's form flickered with skepticism. We've tried assaulting their hive ships before, Captain. It's suicide. Their defenses adapt too quickly. Chen allowed herself a small smile. That's because you've been fighting them on their terms, using technology they understand and can counter. We're going to do something they'll never expect. With a gesture, she brought up an image of what looked like primitive, bulky spacesuits. This is our secret weapon. We call it the Adaptive Response Armor, or ARA. It's a symbiosis of organic and inorganic components, capable of adapting to threats in real time. She went on to explain the armor's capabilities, watching as expressions of disbelief turned to cautious hope. "But here's the key," she continued. "To the swarm's senses, this will read as simple metal, the very thing they've dismissed as useless. They won't see it as a threat until it's too late." Admiral Rodriguez leaned forward, her eyes narrow. "You're proposing an infiltration mission?" Chen nodded. "Exactly. A small team, equipped with ARA, will allow themselves to be captured by the swarm. They'll be brought aboard the hive ship as potential biomass to be consumed. But once inside, they'll strike at the heart of the hive mind." Xylos finished, his form pulsing with a mix of admiration and concern. "It's brilliantly insane, but the risks are enormous," Chen acknowledged. "But it's a risk I'm willing to take. I'll be leading the team myself." The room erupted in argument, but Chen held firm. Over the next hours, the details of the plan were hashed out. A diversionary attack would draw the swarm's attention, allowing Chen's team to slip in unnoticed. Once aboard, they would fight their way to the central chamber and deploy a specially designed weapon, a combination of an electromagnetic pulse and a biological agent tailored to disrupt the swarm's hive mind. As the meeting concluded, Admiral Rodriguez pulled Chen aside. "This is a long shot, Mara," she said softly. "You know that, right?" Chen nodded, her expression grim but determined. "Someone once said that suicide missions are only suicide missions if you die. We don't plan on dying, Elena. We plan on winning." The next weeks were a blur of preparation. Chen's team, a mix of Earth's best Special Forces operatives and a few chosen Confederation allies, trained relentlessly. They had to master not only the use of their new armor, but also the intricacies of swarm biology and ship layout. The ARA suits were refined and perfected, each one a marvel of human ingenuity and alien inspiration. They looked clunky and primitive from the outside, a deliberate design choice to fool swarm sensors, but inside they were more advanced than anything the Confederation had ever seen. As the day of the operation drew near, Chen found herself standing alone in the hangar, staring at her suit. Dr. Tanaka approached, concern etched on her face. "Having second thoughts, Captain?" she asked gently. Chen shook her head. "Not about the mission. I'm just thinking about how far we've come. A year ago, we were alone in the universe, playing with rockets and dreaming of the stars. Now we're about to decide the fate of the galaxy." Tanaka placed a hand on Chen's shoulder. "If anyone can pull this off, it's you and your team. The suit will keep you safe. It's been programmed with everything we know about swarm weaponry and biology. It'll adapt faster than they can." Chen managed a smile. "Let's hope it's fast enough." The day of the operation dawned cold and clear. As Chen's team made final preparations, reports came in of the swarm's approach. They had broken through the last of the Confederation's outer defenses and were headed straight for Earth. In orbit, the combined fleet of human and Confederation ships took up defensive positions. They were the bait, meant to draw the swarm's attention and create an opening for Chen's infiltration team. As Chen sealed her helmet, she took one last look at Earth shining below. Everything hinged on what they did next. If they failed, that beautiful blue marble would be just another world consumed by the endless hunger of the swarm. "Team, sound off," she ordered, pushing aside her doubts. One by one, her squad responded, their voices steady and determined. They knew the risks. They were ready. The small, nondescript shuttle carrying Chen's team detached from the hidden base on the far side of the moon. As they accelerated towards the approaching swarm fleet, Chen allowed herself one final thought of home, of all they were fighting for. Then she pushed it aside, focusing on the mission ahead. They were humanity's best hope, carrying with them the fruit of human ingenuity and determination. It was time to show the galaxy what Earth was truly capable of. As their shuttle disappeared into the chaos of the unfolding battle, the fate of Earth, and perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. Operation Trojan Horse had begun. The battle for Earth. The space around Earth erupted into chaos as the swarm fleet arrived. Thousands of bioships, ranging from nimble fighters to massive hive vessels, poured out of subspace rifts. They were met with a hail of fire from the combined Earth Confederation fleet. Railgun slugs and missiles streaked across the void, tearing into the organic hulls of swarm ships. For the first time, the swarm encountered weapons they couldn't immediately adapt to, and their losses were significant. But their numbers were overwhelming, and slowly but surely they began to push back the defenders. Amid the furious battle, a small, unremarkable shuttle carrying Captain Chen and her team slipped through the swarm's lines. Their ARA suits, reading as simple metal-to-swarm sensors, allowed them to pass unnoticed in the chaos. As planned, they were picked up by a swarm collection ship, a massive maw-like vessel that consumed debris and damaged ships to recycle their biomass. Chen felt her heart race as their shuttle was pulled into the cavernous interior of the swarm ship. This was it. There was no turning back now. Remember, Chen's voice crackled over the team's secure comlink. We play dead until we're deep inside. Then we move fast and hard. Every second counts. The team lay still as their shuttle was broken down around them. Swarm drones, insectoid creatures the size of large dogs, scuttled around them, assessing the new biomass. Chen held her breath as one drone paused, its sensory appendages waving over her suit. For a heart-stopping moment, she thought they'd been discovered. But the drone moved on, apparently dismissing the suits as useless debris. Chen allowed herself a small smile. Phase 1 of the plan was a success. They were carried deeper into the ship, through pulsing organic corridors that seemed more like the inside of some giant beast than a spacecraft. Finally, they were deposited in a large chamber, a sort of digestive center where biomass was broken down for redistribution throughout the swarm. Now, Chen commanded, and her team burst into action. Their ARA suits, dormant until now, came to life. The outer layer of primitive armor sloughed off, revealing the true form of the adaptive response armor beneath. It was sleek, almost liquid in appearance, with a surface that shifted and flowed as it adapted to its surroundings. The swarm drones, caught completely by surprise, barely had time to react before Chen's team cut them down. Conventional weapons would have been all but useless in the caustic, organic environment of the swarm ship. But the ARA suits adapted instantly, protecting their wearers and allowing them to fight effectively. "Move out," Chen ordered. "We need to find the central nervous system of this ship and deploy the disruptor." They fought their way through the ship, their armor constantly shifting and adapting to new threats. When the swarm deployed acid sprayers, the ARA became corrosion-resistant. When they faced bioelectric shocks, the suits turned insulative. Every swarm tactic was met and countered almost instantly. But the swarm was learning too. With each encounter, their attacks became more coordinated, more desperate. They recognized the humans now as the threat they truly were, and they were throwing everything they had at them. As Chen's team neared the central chamber, they encountered the heaviest resistance yet. Massive brute drones, each the size of a small tank, guarded the entrance. Energy weapons and claws that could shear through battleship armor posed a deadly threat, even to the adaptive suits. "We're pinned down," shouted Lieutenant Corey, Chen's second-in-command. "We need a plan, Cap." Chen's mind raced. They were so close, but if they couldn't break through this last line of defense, all would be lost. Then an idea struck her, crazy, reckless, but potentially brilliant. "Tanaka." She calmed the scientist back on Earth. "I need to know if the ARA can handle a massive power surge. I'm talking enough juice to fry every system on this ship." There was a moment of stunned silence before Tanaka's voice came back, hesitant but intrigued. "Theoretically, yes. The adaptive properties should be able to channel and disperse the energy. But Captain, the amount of power you're talking about will be provided by the ship itself," Chen finished. "On my mark, everyone overload your suit's energy absorption to maximum. We're going to turn their own power against them." Her team looked at her with a mixture of awe and terror, but they trusted her. As one, they prepared themselves. Now, Chen yelled, and they charged. The swarm brutes opened fire, their energy weapons unleashing a hellish barrage. But instead of dodging, Chen's team leaned into it. Their suits glowed white-hot as they absorbed the massive energy discharge, channeling it, containing it. For a moment, it seemed like they would be overwhelmed. The suits strained to their limits, alarms blaring in Chen's ears. But they held. And then, with a thought, Chen redirected all that absorbed energy outward. The result was catastrophic for the swarm. A shockwave of power rippled out from the humans, frying every organic circuit in its path. The brute guards fell, their synapses overloaded. The ship itself shuddered, vast sections going dark as the power surge disrupted its biological systems. In the confusion, Chen's team burst into the central chamber. There, pulsing with malevolent intelligence, was the ship's hive mind node, a direct link to the swarm's central consciousness. "Deploy the disruptor," Chen ordered, her voice hoarse with effort. With shaking hands, Lieutenant Corey placed the device, a small, unassuming cylinder, directly onto the writhing mass of the hive mind. It latched on, burrowing into the organic matter. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a high-pitched whine filled the air, rising in intensity until it was almost unbearable. The hive mind convulsed, its psychic screams reverberating through the ship. "Fall back," Chen yelled. "We need to get out of here before." Her words were cut off as the ship lurched violently. The disruptor was working, but it was tearing the ship apart in the process. They had minutes, maybe seconds, to escape. As they fought their way back through the dying ship, Shan allowed herself a moment of hope. They had done it. They had struck at the very heart of the swarm. Now they just had to survive long enough to see the results. Outside, the battle for Earth continued to rage. But as Chen's team made their desperate escape, a change swept across the swarm fleet. Ships began to move erratically, colliding with each other or firing at random. The hive mind was in chaos, and the entire swarm was feeling the effects. In that moment of confusion, the Earth Confederation fleet seized their chance. They pressed their attack, tearing into the disorganized swarm forces with everything they had. As Chen's shuttle burst from the disintegrating high ship, she looked out at the battle with a mix of exhaustion and exhilaration. They weren't out of danger yet, but for the first time since the swarm arrived, victory seemed possible. "This is Captain Chen to all forces," she broadcast on an open channel. "The swarm hive mind has been disrupted. Press the attack. I repeat, press the attack." As humanity and their allies surged forward, the tide of battle began to turn. The swarm, once an unstoppable force, was now in full retreat. And at the heart of it all was a small team of humans in their primitive armor, the armor that had just changed the course of galactic history, a new era of cooperation. In the days following the Battle of Earth, as it came to be known, the full magnitude of what had been accomplished began to sink in. The swarm, stripped of its central intelligence, had scattered across the galaxy. Without the guiding influence of the hive mind, the individual swarm units were little more than animals, dangerous but no longer an existential threat to galactic civilization. Captain Mara Chen, hailed as the hero of the battle, found herself standing before the newly formed Galactic Council. Representatives from every species in the Confederation, along with the leaders of Earth, had gathered to chart the course for the future. As Chen finished recounting the details of Operation Trojan Horse, a hush fell over the assembly. It was Hylos, the Confederation's supreme commander, who broke the silence. Captain Chen, the being of living light, addressed her, its form shimmering with what Chen had learned to recognize as deep emotion. "On behalf of all sentient life in our galaxy, I thank you and your species. Humanity has proven itself not just worthy of joining galactic society, but essential to its survival." Chen nodded, accepting the praise with humility. We only did what anyone would do when faced with extinction, Commander. We adapted. We survived. The Arcturian representative, a crystalline being that communicated through pulses of light, chimed in. But that is precisely what makes your species so remarkable. In less than a year, you went from a pre-FTL civilization to creating technology that surpassed our own in several key areas. The adaptive response armor alone represents a paradigm shift in personal protection technology. Indeed, agreed the Zixlorb, the very same alien who had once mocked human technology as primitive. We owe humanity a great apology. We mistook your different approach to technology as backwardness. In reality, your unique perspective was exactly what was needed to overcome the swarm threat. Admiral Rodriguez, now Earth's official representative to the Galactic Council, stepped forward. On behalf of humanity, we accept your apology, but more importantly, we look forward to working together as true partners in shaping the future of our galaxy. The Council erupted in agreement, and over the next hours, plans were laid out for a new era of cooperation. Earth would share its adaptive response armor technology, along with its novel approaches to kinetic weaponry and hybrid organic-inorganic systems. In return, the Confederation would open its vast libraries of scientific knowledge to humanity, accelerating Earth's technological development by centuries. But it wasn't just military technology that was being exchanged. Earth's arts, culture, and unique philosophical perspectives were suddenly in high demand across the galaxy. The human capacity for individual thought and creativity, so different from the groupthink common in many advanced alien societies, was seen as a valuable asset in problem-solving and innovation. As the council session drew to a close, Chen found herself approached by Dr. Tanaka, who had been invited to present on the technical aspects of the ARI. "Can you believe it, Captain?" Tanaka said, her eyes shining with excitement. "They want to establish a new era of cooperation." "Can you believe it, Captain?" Tanaka said, her eyes shining with excitement. "They want to establish a joint research institute, combining the best minds from Earth and across the Confederation. We'll be working on challenges we never even dreamed of before." Chen smiled, genuinely happy for her friend and colleague. "You've earned it, Yuki. Your work on the ARA was crucial to our success. I can't wait to see what you'll come up with next." As they talked, Chen noticed a commotion near the center of the chamber. A group of aliens she didn't recognize had entered. Tall, willowy beings with iridescent skin and eyes that seemed to hold galaxies within them. Xylos floated over to Chen and Tanaka, its light pulsing with excitement. "Captain, Doctor, allow me to introduce you to the Anthurians. They're, well, you might call them the elder race of our galaxy." Chen's eyes widened. She'd heard whispers about the Anthurians during her crash course in galactic politics, but most had assumed they were just a myth. The tallest of the Anthurians stepped forward, its voice resonating in Chen's mind rather than her ears. "Greetings, children of Earth. We have watched your species with great interest since you first looked up at the stars with wonder. Your victory over the swarm has proven that our faith in you was not misplaced." Chen found herself at a loss for words, a rare occurrence for her. "We're honored," she managed finally. "But I don't understand. If you're so advanced, why didn't you help against the swarm?" The Anthurian's eyes twinkled with what might have been amusement. "My dear Captain, we did help. We helped by not helping." Seeing the confusion on the humans' faces, the Anthurian continued. "Long ago, our civilization reached a pinnacle of technological achievement. We could reshape planets, harness the energy of stars, even manipulate the fabric of space-time itself. But with that power came stagnation. We no longer faced challenges, no longer needed to adapt or grow." It gestured towards Chen and Tanaka. "But you humans, you faced an impossible threat with nothing but your wits and determination. And in doing so, you created something truly new. Your adaptive response armor is a marvel, a perfect fusion of biology and technology that even we had not conceived of." Phylos chimed in, its light flickering with what Chen had come to recognize as excitement. The Anthurians believe that humanity might be the key to solving problems that have plagued our galaxy for millennia. Your unique perspective, your ability to think outside established norms, it's exactly what we need. Chen felt a weight settling on her shoulders, the weight of an entire galaxy's expectations. But along with it came a surge of pride and determination. "We're ready to do our part," she said, standing a little straighter. "Whatever challenges lie ahead, Earth will face them alongside our new allies." The Anthurian nodded approvingly. "We face grave threats, young ones. The swarm was but one of many dangers lurking in the dark between stars. But together, I believe we can forge a brighter future for all sentient life." As the meeting concluded and plans were set in motion for this new galactic alliance, Shen found a quiet moment to slip away. She made her way to one of the station's observation decks, gazing out at the star-studded expanse of space. Admiral Rodriguez joined her, holding 2 glasses of champagne. She handed one to Chen. "Quite a view, isn't it?" Chen nodded, taking a sip. "It's hard to believe how much has changed in just a year. We went from being alone in the universe to being key players in a galactic drama." Rodriguez chuckled. "All thanks to our stupidest armor ever seen. I still can't get over the irony." "It just goes to show," Chen mused, "sometimes the best solutions come from unexpected places. We may not have had the most advanced technology, but we had something just as valuable, a fresh perspective." They stood in companionable silence for a moment, watching as ships from a dozen different species glided past the viewport. Earth was visible in the distance, a beautiful blue marble hanging in the void. "So, Captain," Rodriguez said finally, "ready for your next mission?" Chen raised an eyebrow. "Oh, and what might that be, Admiral?" Rodriguez grinned. "The Galactic Council wants to establish a new rapid response force, a team capable of dealing with threats like the swarm before they become galaxy-wide problems. They want you to lead it." Chen felt a mix of surprise, honor, and just a touch of apprehension. "Me? But surely there are more experienced commanders out there." "Experience isn't everything," Rodriguez countered. "They want someone who can think on their feet, adapt to new situations, someone who can look at a problem from angles no one else has considered. In short, they want humanity's stupidest ideas leading the charge." Chen laughed, shaking her head in amazement. "Well, when you put it like that, how can I refuse?" She raised her glass in a toast. "To humanity's stupid ideas, may they continue to save the galaxy." As they clinked glasses, Chen's gaze returned to the stars beyond the viewport. A year ago, those stars had been distant, unreachable points of light. Now they were beacons of possibility, each one potentially holding new allies, new challenges, and new horizons to explore. The battle against the swarm had been won, but Chen knew it was just the beginning. There would be more threats, more challenges to face, but humanity had proven its worth. With their ingenuity, their adaptability, and yes, their stupidest armor ever seen, they had earned their place among the stars. As Chen contemplated the future, she felt a sense of excitement and purpose unlike anything she'd ever experienced. The galaxy was vast, full of wonders and dangers beyond imagination. And humanity, with its unique blend of creativity, determination, and just a touch of glorious absurdity, was ready to face whatever came next. The era of humanity's isolation was over. The age of galactic cooperation had begun. And at the forefront of it all was a species that had turned its greatest perceived weakness into its greatest strength. The stupidest armor in the galaxy had just become its greatest hope.